Recently, the Godforge team did a massive reveal on 3 hero kits and skills, so we know exactly what to do and what they're capable of with some gameplay video to add in. And what's best thing about this, they set us, the content creators, and you, the community, a challenge and deciding which one is strongest. So if you want to be part of it, all you got to do, check in the description down below, check it out, the video, click it, hit the comment down on what you believe is the stronger hero, or even do it on my video, right? And you can, everyone will read the comment section, right, and see what's going on. But what we're going to do, as you can imagine, on this channel, deep dive into Anubis, Aphrodite, and Arthur's skills in today's video. We're not going to do any of the gameplay stuff. We might do that on a separate video. If you guys want it, tell me down in the comment section down below. But today is all going to be hero and skill focus. So let's dive into the very first hero, which is going to be my favorite hero so far of the game, which is Anubis. So Anubis is a part of the Aru faction. You can see he's part of the Chaos Affliction and he's a brawler. So what this kind of guy does is doing damage, but takes a little bit of damage too. So we'll see how his kit is. But being part of the Chaos and Aru affinity is going to be interesting later down the line when more of these heroes come out. We can start to compare brawler to brawler, you know, defender to defender, invoker to invoker. When we're going to actually his first skill though, his basic skill is called Soul Guide, right? What you're able to do is attack an enemy for 250% of the attack plus 15% of your maximum HP from Anubis. If the enemy dies, you have a 35% chance to place a fear for 1 turn on all enemies. So it is a really, really powerful ability. I will admit that. The only thing which a lot of players might look at, even to myself, until we find other heroes out there, if I'm going to try and evaluate this skill, kind of like a Magic the Gathering card or Hearthstone card or just even a, you know, Rise of Kingdoms skill, right? What we're going to be doing is seeing what restrictions are on it, what's the payoff, and is it really worth it, right? Because that's kind of the real main things a lot of players want to know. Is it worth the investment for all of it? So we're getting a decent attack on an enemy. It's a singular enemy, and the cool thing about this attack is it does leak. That being a brawler, you're going to be wanting some HP on our hero here because a lot of the damage is going to be coming out of it as well. So it's kind of nice having that little bit of maximum HP stored on top. But the restriction for me, if the enemy dies, it has a 35% chance to place fear. I don't think this is going to ever happen. I'm going to be honest. I don't feel like you are really going to be trying to use this skill just to kill an enemy, just to get that 35% chance to place the fear. Obviously, the fear can be really, really powerful in a CC effect, but again, 35% chance to me isn't too much, but it makes sense as a basic ability. It feels quite balanced, I'll be honest, as a skill, so I'm not actually going to be too mad about this skill at all when it comes to the Shepherd of Shadows Anubis. But we're going to go into the second skill. This is when things start getting interesting. So his second skill is going to be called Embalming Blast. So this is kind of what you're going to be able to kind of activate. Not your ultimate, but kind of a really cool one. This attacks all enemies. So now we're kind of cooking. And it's 200% attack plus 20% maximum HP. So you're seeing a common theme there already with a lot of his skills. You want HP on this brawler. So he's going to be able to take the hit. And maybe down the line, as we're going to see, he's going to get some sort of payoff from it with damage. But he also has a 75% chance to place Corrupt and Initiative 2 down for 2 turns. And this is a cooldown for 5 turns. And the thing is, I actually really think this could be a super powerful ability. And the only issue is we don't know what Corrupt is. And I can't wait for one of the devs to be watching this video and maybe, as a suggestion, they make a video on keywords. Explain what Corrupt is, explain what fear is actually doing, explain what all of these different mechanics or keywords really entail, because it kind of gives us, the players, a little bit more of understanding when it comes to evaluating the kit, right? Because Corrupt could be anything. This could be in placing a debuff onto the target so they do take 25% more damage, for example. You know, they're corrupted in that way. They could be dealing less damage. It could be all sorts of stuff what Corrupt could be. So I'm really interested to see what that is. the initiative 2 down is really big. This is going to allow you to help get better, you know, push when it comes into who gets to attack first for initiative. Really very powerful. Honestly, I do like this ability. So not too bad. 75% chance to do this. Not too bad at all for something pretty powerful when it comes to CC abilities. Now, his ultimate. So his ultimate with the scales. This is an attack on all enemies. So 200% attack again and 15% of his maximum HP. He has a 35% chance to play Drain 2 for 2 turns, and you repeat this attack on enemies with less than 50% divinity. Now, this is where I think Anubis is cocking. Like, if you're going to play Anubis, I think this is the skill you're going to be using him for, because the cool thing about this, and this is your ultimate ability, and you got to remember from what we've kind of seen in the gameplay, you can chain your ultimates in order and you can kind of hold it off. You can use it when you want. It's kind of almost like playing with 4 magic cards, right? 4 playable cards that can really tempo swing the game. So imagine you're playing Anubis, your enemy uses all of their, I'm guessing, ultimates, which is what their divinity, I believe, is going to be the currency for. And when they've done that, guess what? You're going to be going for a 5-bomb repeat on this AoE, which is nutty that you're able to do that. I wonder if it is going to be some sort of, you know, limit. But if it works the way I hope it works, that sounds absolutely bonkers. On top of that, the Drain 2, and this is where you can see where the payoff of actually just maximizing HP and not really going super hard into defense or like armor, for example, on your hero, because this is going to give you all the HP you're actually draining back from the enemies and then losing HP. So again, shows you a really powerful tempo swing. On top of this, it states gain 200 divinity whenever an enemy dies, and you gain 300 additional divinity if they were killed by the soul guide. That means if you was able to kill them by that skill 1, so this is the basic skill here, you're able to kill them here, you're always guaranteed 300 extra divinity, then the 35% chance on the fear for 1 turn. Not too bad, right? Not too bad at all when it comes to it. Really interesting armor. This is where I actually think I am the most excited for this hero. I wonder how we could potentially break this in the game and how good of an AoE clearer this could be as a brawler based hero, right? So this is kind of the first set of abilities for him. The next thing what we're going to be talking about on Anubis is his 2 passives, because there's 2 passives on screen. I've kind of left them out to the end just because it's nice and easy. But you gain 20% turn meter whenever an enemy unit dies, allowing you to obviously get quicker in the turn, skipping up the turn order, right? So you go faster than other players or other gods on the field. Do you like this? Kind of interesting to see how well this is going to work with his kit. But he also has, as you notice, leader bonus. So he has a HP leader bonus. So we now know what those banners kind of mean, right? We know it is that primary bonus that I've kind of talked about, and we know now the health is associated to this kind of, you know, banner mark of the love heart, right? So he's actually going to give all of your, you know, allies 33% extra HP in all battles, which is really powerful. Again, to do this in PvE, PvP, having him as your leader, clearly is going to have a benefit for your team if it's an Aru, you know, Egyptian themed team, or if you're doing a mixed match but still have him included, does give you that option. So that is Anubis covered. We've gone through all of his skills, and now I'm going to give you my kind of little mini verdict on him, right? And then we'll go through the other heroes, and then I'll tell you my personal ranking of them all. But I do think he's okay. I'm not saying he's overpowered. I do think this skill makes sense the more, I mean, reading it and kind of playing other games and thinking, you know what, it's kind of powerful, but you're not really playing Anubis for this. This is kind of like an extra bit of quality of life. I kind of called it like a nice extra gimmick to have to his kit. Embalming Blast isn't too bad. I actually really like this skill. This is the thing that I think will make him pretty good in teams. It's all down to Corrupt. I don't know what Corrupt means. Depending on how good Corrupt is going to change if I like this skill or not. But this is where I think the true power of Anubis is. So this is where all of the damage is going to be if you're able to potentially set up this repeat attack on multiple times, if you can get 2 of the enemy gods or 3 enemy gods with 50% less divinity, this is going to do a ton of damage and apply a ton of drain too as well to them. So I do like it. And then coming to the final bit, the turn meter and the leader bonus, I just think they're nice. It's kind of nice. It's nothing too crazy. We'll see how good this is in game, because I can't really make a massive judgment on this because I don't know how fast people are going to die and where he's going to be able to be positioned because of that, right? So that's Anubis covered. So what we're going to do is move to Arthur next, and then we'll finish with Aphrodite at the end. So we've got Arthur Pendragon, the Excalibur wielder, the one and only. And we're going to go through the passive first and work my way through, because honestly, when I was recording this, I was thinking, why did I not do this for Anubis? Me learning on the fly as you go, right? But we're going to go through the passives first, go through the skills. It makes a lot more sense, right? So his passive is reduces the damage taken from intercept attacks by 50% and will heal by 10% maximum of his HP when intercepting damage from an ally. So you're going to see in his kit, as a kind of spoiler from the passive, there's going to be some sort of intercept mechanic involved, right? On top of this, as a leader bonus, you'll notice, because this guy is not a brawler, he is classed as a defender. So he's actually a super tank over a brawler, which is kind of a bit more of a HP tank trying to deal damage, right? So they're in the middle. This guy's going to give you 35%. So you're going to get 35% HP. And it kind of showcases a difference potentially that brawlers, if they have the HP leader bonus, are going to give you 33. And if you have the leader bonus on a defender, you're going to have 35. So it does showcase, look, there is a reason why sometimes you might want Arthur Pendragon as your leader over a brawler, right? And it's really cool to see that. And it kind of gives you, you know, when you're making these hero combinations and formations, something to think about. So what we'll do then on the next skill is going to be his basic skill. This is a Loyal Strike. Attack an enemy for 150% of your defense and 75% attack. It has a 50% chance to place Taunt for 1 turn, and you're guaranteed to place Intercept now for 1 turn on a random ally. So the one thing what I've noticed between this skill and Anubis' skill straight away is the percentage chance increase. So Taunt, all Taunt means, but I've always known, is if you attack that enemy, so I attack the enemy, say Anubis, and I get this 50% chance proc, that Anubis is forced to attack me as Arthur Pendragon. So that is a really understandable one on why it has a greater chance to be placed compared to Anubis that has a 35% chance on the fear, right? Because that is going to allow him to do a more powerful CC effect. So you can see where they're kind of trying to balance the power now between skills, which I think is really interesting. I do love this skill. I actually think this is a really good skill. If you're going to try and be a main tank, this is definitely what you want. This is going to allow you to hopefully absorb damage. But what the intercept I believe it means is you're going to apply that to maybe your Aphrodite. And if she gets attacked by the enemy Anubis, you're going to be able to, as Arthur, basically go in front and intercept that damage and take it for her, right? So it's only going to be for that 1 turn, which is really cool, but it's for a random ally. So I do like this. I actually really like this skill for Arthur. Now moving on to the next skill here, we've got Excalibur's Call, the first one. And I want to say, just before we dive into skill, if there is a dev watching, please, if you're going to add, you know, like Excalibur as a weapon you could unlock for gear and stuff, what I think would be really cool, just me personally, a bit of flavor text, right? Imagine at the very bottom there's something like from Excalibur, like a prophecy, a little, you know, 2 lines just to give it a little bit of personality, kind of like you see in Hearthstone cards, Magic the Gathering cards, like all of that type of stuff. Just a little bit of flavor, and you can have a little bit of comedy with it if you really wanted to, but just want to put that out there, right? Excalibur's Call, though, really powerful skill. Honestly, I love this skill. Attacks all enemies, 200% defense and 100% attack. Has a 75% chance to place attack down 2 for 2 turns. And a guarantee to increase the defense of all Avalanche allies by 10%, going all the way up to 30%. So you're going to be rolling potentially the dice on how good that buff is. And Jesus Christ, I love this skill. This is exactly what I want on a tank. And you'll notice by the end of this Arthur whole breakdown, you're going to see one big, massive reveal or review on this hero from me. Because I actually think it's one of the best, well-designed heroes I have seen so far out of all of them, right? This is the best one by a landslide. It's exactly what I want a tank to do. Let's just be honest. It is. He's going to attack all enemies, 200% defense, showcasing, look, this hero with his basic, with his core skill, really wants you to armor up. You don't need HP. You can have a bit of HP. It's going to be nice, but you really want that armor. You want that defense stat as high as possible to take this damage and to negate as much damage as possible. So it just showcases a really good understanding of what a tank wants to do and is able to do. So I think this is a really good skill here. Honestly, powerful as hell when it comes to Excalibur's call. And then going to his final, his ultimate ability. This is King's Oath. So you're able to place Retaliate for 2 turns on this hero. It's 100% guarantee. Then place Immortal for 2 turns on allies with higher defense than attack. Then place Vanish for 2 turns on allies with higher attack than defense. So why I love this skill is because as a tank, and what a lot of tanks kind of do in a lot of the games like World of Warcraft and MMOs in general, they do buff in auras. And it just feels like an aura buff that makes sense. So he is basically allowing the other tanks on your team, so any tank that has higher defense stats than attack, to gain Immortal, right? So they're not going to get any damage for those 2 turns. Then any of your DPS that are waiting to attack and they don't want to die, all of those boys are going invisible. So they ain't going to get attacked unless there's a mechanic to reveal them, which is really cool. But he is going to have Retaliate. So all of the focus that's going onto him, he's going to be hitting back with that. So I absolutely love this hero. This is honestly the best hero design I've seen from a load of different games for a tank on a turn-based strategy game. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is just makes sense. You're having a intercept mechanic on 2 different ways, basically. And with that, you're reducing the damage and healing anytime that's triggering. You're able to taunt enemies and intercept from the basic skill, which is easy to understand. He's able to attack all allies, attack all enemies, shall we say, and apply a attack down 2 stat, meaning they're going to be dealing even less damage, which he wants to do, right? He wants to take as less damage as possible, and I love it. It just makes perfect sense on this hero, and I like it. Like Arthur Pendragon, well-designed hero, 10 out of 10. Honestly, I'm going to call him 10 out of 10. One of the best 4-out heroes, I think, out of the 3 we've seen. Now, we're going to go to what I'm going to call the problem child. Yes, the problem child. I've left her to the end because, as you can imagine, spoiler alert, I do think Aphrodite, comparing them to the other 2 heroes we've got, is just absolutely insane. So Aphrodite is a very cool hero because she is an invoker. So she's not a hero that's kind of like a tank or a DPS dealer. What she wants to do is basically invoke buffs and debuffs. She's kind of like a utility-based jack of all trades, right? She's kind of that toolbox you put into your formation to really enhance the team or to debuff the enemy team. So it does change how your team could be interacting with them. However, Jesus Christ, Aphrodite, I do think if they could re-look at this hero, I would, because this hero to me is bonkers. When we go through all of the kit, you're going to see just how OP I think this is compared to any of the other heroes we've seen. Straight away with the passive, this passive is nuts, man. So any allies under the speed up 2 or the initiative up 2 buffs, so this basically means from herself, if she buffs anyone up with speed up 2 or initiative up 2, she is going to basically gain, or they're going to gain, should I say, all allies, they're going to gain 20% more incoming healing turn meter and will deal 20% more damage from attacks. That is crazy. Why that's crazy? The thing is, this is only one hero in the game. And as you can imagine, as other heroes come out, they might have self buffs. Like, for example, you could have maybe a samurai that has a move that goes, hits a enemy, and then applies a speed up 2 buff to himself for his next turn. And if he's got that on, he's going to get the turn meter, he's going to get the 20% damage from attacks, he's going to get the incoming healing. And that's not even triggered from her, right? That's just because she's on the field. This passive is being applied at any given instance of these 2 buffs on. And I'm telling you, if I was a designer, this passive could be an ultimate. I'm going to be honest, it could almost be an ultimate for a brand new god. Imagine an ultimate that says that allies under the speed up 2 and initiative 2 buff gain 35% more incoming healing, 20% more turn meter, and will deal 20% more damage from all sources. Because that's basically what this is saying. Bro, that is an insane ultimate buff to apply for like 5 turns. I'm just saying. So Aphrodite already rank 1 without going any further. And we're going to see as we go into her kit, she is definitely overtuned compared to the other heroes. On top of this, she also has a leader bonus, as you guys notice, and we find out what the green banner means for the first time. He's an ally accuracy by 60 in all battles. Even more bonkers. So this basically allows you and all of your formation, all of your allies in your team, right, to have a higher percentage chance of hitting their skills, right? So you might have a 35% chance, but if you've got higher accuracy, it might bleed it up a little bit more to like 40%. And that 40% is a really big game changer compared to 35%, right? So stuff like that could be massive. So you can see already, bro, leader bonus passive bonkers. Now we're going to keep going and we're going to go into a basic skill. And this is where it starts to go crazy. So we can attack an enemy for 300% of our attack value and then increases the turn meter of allies under speed up 2, initiative 2 by 10%. And after attacking, she places speed up 2 on for 1 turn on herself, right? So what this means, for 1 turn, she literally allows herself to get 20% more incoming healing from any support, any more turn meter she gets, and obviously the damage isn't going to be there because she's going to obviously lose it. However, she could potentially get a speed up buff from someone else, and this is where I feel this is where the problem lies, and you can see where this hero is going to be, I think, a real problem in the game. We go to the next skill. This is a core skill, but so the basic skill is what she does when she just attacks you guys, right? She attacks you and that's what happens. This is like a core kind of skill that you can trigger. Target any ally, place speed up 2, initiative 2 for 3 turns, and then you grant yourself an extra turn, and this is a 5-turn cooldown. Oh my god, right? So basically, this says this is a 4-turn cooldown because you're going to apply the speed up 2, the initiative 2 for 3 turns onto all of your allies instantly, right? So they're all going to have the passive again applied to them. Then it's an extra turn applied, so then you get to go again, right? So you get to go again. So the cooldown's gone from 5 now to 4. So we're on 4 turns now, and they've still got the speed up 2 buff and the initiative 2 buff because it's for 3 turns. So they've got 2 turns of this bad boy still cooking, meaning they're getting an extra 20% more damage, incoming healing, and that turn meter all going. And then what's just even more busted is the fact that because you're getting an extra turn, just think, guys, you're able to go straight into Lover's Duet, allowing you to put any of those, allies that you've hit with that buff, boom, 10% even more. So I do think this is an insane combo straight away, just with 2 skills, man. And her ultimate, I love this ultimate. The animation For Temptation of the Flesh, I'm gonna play it here as in the background as we kind of talk. But Jesus, I love the animation for this. It's so good. But again, this skill is absolutely nuts. It's just nuts, man. So I cannot wait to see what other invokers are gonna be like to compare her. Because if other invokers are just as busted as Aphrodite is here, I honestly have zero issues. I'm going to be honest. I honestly have zero issues if they're as busted as this hero. Because it's like, look, if they're all busted, then you know what we're coming into, right? But if we've got a clear broken one, which Aphrodite seems to be so far, oh boy, as Joe Rogan would say, right? So, Temptation of the Flesh, what is her ultimate ability? She attacks all enemies now 400% attack, which is crazy. And she has 3 different textures on this. So she has 3 different effects that can apply when she does this. So she can place Confuse for 2 turns on enemies whose resistance is equal to or less than this hero's accuracy. And this is where things are going to be really interesting when it comes to hero builds, because depending on how you build this hero, you might go for a lower accuracy, meaning you're not going to get potentially that good landing. But if you do that, you're able to get a payoff, right? And you'll see that through this skill. So the first one is if you actually go for a really high, accuracy or something, right? You're going to get confused, right? But the next one, place stun for 1 turn on enemies whose resistance is equal to or greater than this hero's accuracy. So if those players have a DPS that would have a higher accuracy value than this one, you're gonna stun them. So this is where I think building this hero for a lot of players is where it's going to be really interesting. Same with Anubis, where it was really interesting on the ultimate, because the way you want to look at it is like, look, I could try and go for a build with a really high accuracy, guarantee confused for 2 turns all the time. Or do I go for a more lower accuracy build, gambling? I might get confused off sometimes, but I might get that stun off too. And that might be what's really good. Because as you can see though, the stun cannot be resisted, while the confuse does not have that. So you can see the confuse could potentially be resisted and get removed, right? If a confuse or stun disable is resisted or blocked, you decrease that enemy's turn meter by 25%. So you literally cut them down by a quarter, right? 1/4. Just amazing. I do like this skill, giving you a 50 divinity whenever you're placing a buff on an ally. This hero, as we've seen from, the skill 1, the skill 2, she is applying buffs left, right, and center. So this isn't going to be an issue. You can imagine straight away, look, this is 1, 2 buffs going into another 3 and potentially 4 buffs, or 3 buffs here, which is the speed up 2 on herself. I don't know if the increase counts as a buff. Maybe it does, but if it does, that's 4 and 5. So she places 5 potential buffs, guaranteeing 3 that we know, right, without testing her out. And that's 150 divinity. Boom. Right? So not too bad. Not too bad. So we'll see how powerful she really is in game. But when we compare, honestly, all 3 heroes now, so if we kind of show Arthur here, we've got Anubis, the boy, and then bring back the girl, right? Honestly, Aphrodite to me takes the cake. She is definitely the strongest hero by a landslide when it comes to her kit. I just think her kit is absolutely crazy. As an invoker-based hero, that is on the good side, which is cool, and she's in the Olympus faction. I do love all of that, right? Arthur honestly is, I think, the best designed hero, right? So I actually think everything in his kit makes sense. It all actually works together, right? So if you think about the passive going into the basic, going into the core, going into the ultimate, everything actually works and it makes sense. And the thing is, nothing is over the top. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it all adds up, and it's these little things that make the hero, which is really cool. And the same with Anubis, right? Anubis has this turn meter, which is kind of cool when anything dies, which might be all about the team you're running to get him cooking. But what I really like about Anubis is the ultimate. The ultimate feels like this is where the champion is honestly going to go absolutely crazy. But when you compare his other skills, this seems to be really cool. I don't know how good Corrupt is. And the same with like the first skill. It seems okay, and I understand why it's got a lower percentage, because Fear is definitely going to be a more harder hurting CC than a Taunt is, right? So it makes sense. But is he stronger than Arthur? I don't think so. And I definitely don't think he's stronger at all than Aphrodite. And then it comes into the question, do I think, you know, my Arthur here is stronger than the girl? And I don't think he is. I just think she is just insane in the membrane. Honestly, absolutely cooking. So that's my verdict. All 3 heroes covered in this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. All the skills there as well, so you know what they do. Love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Which heroes you think are actually the strongest? Because you got to remember, I'm coming from more of a card game plus like a 4x city building, you know, scenario. You guys might play Raid Shadow Legends, Watcher of Realms, Dragonair, right? You might play all of those different types of games. And the way those heroes are evaluated are completely different to the way I evaluated heroes. So I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. So with that said, you know what to do. Until the next video, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.